So here's a quick little video on how to change a tensioner pulley. This car happens to, or not a tensioner pulley, a serpentine belt. I changed a tensioner pulley recently, but I'm going to show you how to change out the serpentine belt. This happens to be a 96 Mustang GT. If it was the 95, it'd have the 5.0, but it's the 96, so they had the 4.6 in those years. So here is the Ford 4.6 V8. I made a little diagram to show you how the belt actually wraps around in this particular engine. Usually, somewhere in here or under the hood, there's a sticker that shows you the belt routing, which way the belt goes and stuff. But this is for the 96 GT and some of the Crown Vics, and there's a couple different cars that actually had this particular engine. But there's only one tool that you'll actually need, and that would be a 1/2-inch breaker bar. This one happens to be a 2-foot breaker bar. And ratcheting helps because you can decide which way you want to pull it. If it doesn't ratchet, then you're stuck with one particular spot you can put it in, and you can't always get the direction you want out of it. So I like these ratcheting ones for a job like this. Now, on the tensioner pulley, there will be a square slot in which the breaker bar just slips right into, and then you can move it I'm going to slip this right into here now that the breaker bar is in there. When we move the breaker bar, when we push down on it, you can see that releases the tension on the belt, and we can slip it right off. So I'm going to remove the tension on it, and then as soon as you get it off one pulley, then that's usually enough to get it off the rest of the way. So we're just going to reach around in all the various nooks and crannies and remove this belt completely. And if you can see on this belt, it's all cracked up and dried out and not going to last very much longer. So just for demonstration, oh yep, there's one that goes all the way across. If you see any of these that go all the way across, that's a sure sign that it needs to be replaced right away. But just for demonstration purposes, before I actually get another one later today, I'm going to put this one just straight back on. So what we're going to do is we're just going to follow the routing diagram for the engine. If you don't find the diagram anywhere under the hood, then before you take the belt off, just kind of jot it down quick so you remember it. And on these, the first thing we do is shove it under the tensioner pulley here so we can get down there. We may have to, hold on, may have to use the breaker bar so we can move the tension out of the way, get a little more room to shove the belt through. Now that we have it on that bottom pulley there, we can pull it out and make sure it's not twisted or kinked in any way. And now that it's not, what we can do is, while keeping tension on it, just route one side down through the pulleys with the other hand keeping tension on it, and that way it'll stay on the pulleys as we put them on there. So let me kind of zoom in here and let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'll try to do my best to keep out of the way of the camera. So we'll route these down around the pulleys while keeping tension on it. And as you're wrapping it around, you'll end up with some that are not completely on it, like that one down there, if you can see that. That's okay though, because once you get it on all but one of the pulleys, we can just go around and kind of straighten it up. It'll be super easy once it's already pretty much wrapped around on there. So. And I like to save either a really small pulley or the top pulley, which is the alternators on top quite a bit at a time. And I like to save that pulley for last because it's easiest to put it on and it doesn't take very much effort at all. So I'll put the breaker bar in there again, and hard to do this holding the camera with the breaker bar. And with the extra tension we have, we'll shove that last pulley on there. We'll correct any mistakes where the belt may be off a pulley. There's one down there. That one, the compressor clutch down there, looks okay, and we'll release the tension on that. Do a visual inspection. Make sure nothing looks off. Make sure it all looks like they're all in the grooves where they should be. This looks good. And before you do anything else, normally just get rid of anything in the engine bay, any tools, any papers, anything else like that. We'll put this notebook and breaker bar right there, out of the way of anything, and we'll go start the car quick. Key in the ignition, we'll prime the pump. And everything there looks good. And that's it's a very simple process to replace these serpentine belts. It really doesn't matter too much make or model. The process is basically the same. And the real only difference is the way the belt is routed and the lengths of the belts. But other than that, it's all basically the same. It's a very simple process, and now you can do it at home.